Today we are in week 3 of organizing for our student loan debt forgiveness campaign. Next week, you all, we're going to release a very strategic plan to hopefully get our government, our local officials, our state officials to respond. Because how many of you all know nobody should go to school and leave with 6 figures of debt? $249,000, $159,000, $118,000 in debt. And today we have with us a group of young people who are from Michigan. Could you make some noise for them, y'all? Spring Harbor is in the house. But right behind me, these young adults are in student loan debt themselves. Combined, if we were to pass this mic, and I wish we had more time to do it, they are over $300,000 in debt. And that's just the ones you see out in the audience combined. That's close to $1 million in debt. When I was working a part-time job at Nike Town, and my manager Heather, former manager Heather is here, I was in college myself struggling to rob Peter to pay Paul. But today we want to talk about the Parent Plus issue. For those of you that do not know, the Parent Plus loan is a loan that parents sign up for to essentially make sure that their child can get through college. And right across this nation, we are seeing so many parents that are struggling. And for those of you all that do not know, there are 3.6 million parents that are in debt to the tune of close to $88 billion. Let me say that again. You have across this nation 3.6, close to 4 million parents that signed up, put their name, their credit, their house as collateral for their children to get to college and get through college. And now collectively parents are close to 88, not million, but $billion in debt. Parents that have signed up for these loans across this nation on average are in debt close to $25,000 on average in debt. And just for a few moments, our co-chair, Mr. Teddy Gilmore, is going to share with you a story about someone that's close to him that has a Parent Plus loan. Come on, put your hands together for Mr. Teddy Gilmore.
Good morning, Rainbow Push. How are you? Good, yes. The stories are just, pretty much outlandish. I mean, you have parents that are taking out $40,000 and student loans just to help get their children through college. And then at the end of this, the jobs are just not there to sustain. So I think one of the things that we're doing is collecting this data and helping people understand what student debt actually is. This Parent Plus loan, it almost seems like a trick. If you don't have jobs that are available once you graduate, how are you able to pay this? So, together with Rainbow Push, we're going to do something about it, or at least try to do something about it, and give a little more understanding so people will know actually what they're signing up for. Okay?
Come on, one more time for Teddy Gilmore. Those of you that are watching, we want you to do 2 things. Mark your calendar for next Saturday. Everybody say next Saturday. Next Saturday, we're going to release our strategic plan to fight this student loan debt. Those of you that are watching, especially on Facebook, we want you to right now on that comment section, write down in the comments how much you are in debt. Parents, don't just come by yourself. Bring your children to 36th and Cottage Grove next Saturday, because we're going to, again, organize strategically. We found out today that Representative LaShawn Ford, who's a West Side representative in the House doing a great job, come on, one time for LaShawn Ford, has introduced a bill. He's constructing a bill that if you teach in the state of Illinois, that some way, somehow, the debt can be forgiven. But nevertheless, if we don't fight, we don't win. Reverend Jackson said it best. There's never been a fight that we've lost unless we get into the fight. And so we know that God is able and that God is on our side. If God can turn 2 fish and 5 loaves and feed 5,000, what more will God do with a couple of those of us that are in debt and erase the debt? Somebody say erase the debt. Say it like you mean it. Say erase the debt. Now come on, put your hands together again as we fight for student loan debt relief.